Okay, everyone, if you're here, this is the second tutorial video for your Romeo and Juliet outline and essay. This is the video on how to write your body paragraphs. You should only be watching this video if you've already finished your introduction. So these boxes in your introduction paragraph should all be complete. If they're not complete, you're on the wrong video. You want to go back, watch the first video attached to the assignment on how to write your introduction and make sure your introduction is done. So if you're not complete, make sure you do that. If you are done with your introduction, then you are obviously ready to move to writing your body paragraphs, which is the bulk of your essay, which is where you're going to prove your overall thesis statement. All right. Now, I have a thesis statement here, but mine is incomplete because mine is just a sample. Your thesis statement should be something similar, but here's how mine sounds. I'm just going to reiterate. Although there are many characters and factors that contribute to the overall tragedy of the play, the three most prevalent and significant factors are the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets. And then I only have 1 point there. I would list, you should have at least two more. I just have one, and I chose the one that I think is the most common that I know a lot of students are doing, just to kind of give you an example. But you should have at least two more listed for your points. And what you do then, each of your body paragraphs will focus on one of the points or one of the factors that you choose to blame for the tragedy in this play. So since my first one is I'm blaming the feud in between the Montagues and the Capulets, that's going to be my focus for my body paragraph one. Okay? So every body paragraph begins with an opening topic sentence. Okay. Now, before you do all this, one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have these notes open, these notes that I provided in the PowerPoint, to the slide that says textual evidence. And it also doesn't hurt to have the lit charts open that I attached to the assignment to take you to the different scenes and acts of the play. Because this is where you can pull some textual evidence that you might want to use in your essay. Okay? All right, but now I'm going to come back and I'm going to write an opening statement to this body paragraph. So remember, I want to focus on the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets. So I can open by saying one of the most significant factors that contributes to the tragedy of the play is the ongoing feud between the Montagues and the Capulets. Right? I just want a statement that clearly tells the reader what this body paragraph is going to be focusing on. So what I'd like you to do right now in just a second is pause the video and write an opening topic sentence for your first body paragraph, depending on whatever the first point is that you're going to be talking about in your essay. So pause the video and write an opening topic sentence for your body paragraph one. All right, if you're back, then I'm assuming that you've already written in this box. If you're not sure if you wrote a good topic sentence, check with us and we can let you know. We can check over your writing or check over your opening statement. And if that's the case, then your whole body paragraph one should all be focusing on examples of how the feud contributed to the tragedy, right? So how did this feud, I want to give one example, then I want to give a second example, and then I either want to give a third example if I have one. 3 is always good, but notice it says if needed. If you don't have a strong third example, that's okay. But if you can come up with, you want to try to come up with 3, but 2 will be all right if you only come up with 2 good ones, right? So I'm going to come back up here, and I'm just going to do one example for you, and then the process will just repeat itself. Right? So now I got to give an example of how the feud contributed to the tragedy of the play, right? How did the feud help create some of the tragedy in this play? So I'm going to start from the very beginning because I like to go in chronological order. So I'm going to give the first example where I believe the feud contributed to the play. So I'm going to write the dangers of the feud is first established for the audience in the very first scene of Act 1 as the as the Montagues and the Capulets fight. Of course, we read this scene together. We watched the scene. So you all saw the opening scene and saw the Montagues and Capulets get in a huge fight, right? So I think that example is pretty clear. But now I got to support it with some evidence. Now, I would like you to try to use textual evidence, but if you can't, you could always just paraphrase what happened in that moment, right? But I'm going to show you how to use some textual evidence here. So I have two things open. One, I have this slide that shows me how to write textual evidence. And then two, I have actual text. You can use your book if you know where it is in your book. You can use some notes that you have, or you can just find the act and the scene that it's in, or ask Mr. Gasaway, and I can definitely help you find what you're looking for. So I'm going to scroll down here to line 90 because I know this play very well. It's actually right before line 90. It's lines 87 to 89. And this is where the prince gave that speech where he came in after the fight. And I like these three lines, and I'm going to copy them. So I'm going to copy these speech, or hit Control-C maybe. You might have to hit Control-C because you're on a Chromebook. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to paste my evidence. Well, look at that. I mean, when you look at that, you can see this is not the same kind of font. This is not you have highlighting here, so I got to clean this all up. So first thing I'm going to do is highlight this, and I'm going to come to up here with the highlighter. I'm going to put none, so I have no blue background, right? And then I got to make sure that my font is Arial 11 or Arial 12, just like the rest of the essay, so it all matches up perfectly. This is called formatting, and you want to do this properly. Okay? So, but now if you look, I have a quote, but I don't know who's saying this quote. I don't know where exactly it's from. So this is the proper way to cite a quote. One, you want to always cite the act, the scene, and the line numbers at the end of the quote, which I'll show you how to do. You want to use backslashes at the end of every line, which you can see in these quotes right here. And you want to make sure you're using the real version, not the translated version. So it should be the version on the left side here on the lit charts. Do not use the translated text. Avoid this. Stay with the original side. Okay, so I'm just going to go back down real quick. Back to the speech here. All right. So now I'm ready to cite this. So first thing I need to do is I need to introduce who is talking and who are they talking to, or what is the context of this moment. So I'm going to write the prince, I'm going to capitalize prince because that's the name of the character, states in his opening speech, comma. Now I'm going to throw quotation marks around this quote. But again, look at it. It's still not lined up properly. So I need to bring this line back up. Clean that up there. But remember, you're supposed to put backslashes at the end of every line. So I need to come in here to my document. One goes right here. Have a space there between the two. Another one goes right here. I have a space there between the third one. So now I have this nice and cited, but I'm still not done. I still need to go back and add one more thing. Where did I find this quote? What act, what scene, and the line numbers. And you don't have to use colors like you see on there. So I'm just going to put it in here. This is Act 1, Scene 1, lines 87 to 89. I'm going to put a period there to end it. So now I have good textual evidence cited in this paragraph to support the example that I'm giving. So what I'd like you to do right now is to pause the video, and I'd like you to write an example for your first body paragraph at your first point, supported by some evidence from the text. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, if you're back, then I'm assuming that you have these two boxes completed, which now you need to really kind of delve into the importance of the textual evidence. So, what I'd like you to do is to talk about what is suggested by the evidence. And again, notice how it says do not use the word suggested. You don't want to repeat yourself. But ultimately, why does it matter? How does it prove the argument that your essay is trying to focus on? And again, I also say, don't say why it matters, or don't say it matters because, just write why it matters. And I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, so I'm going to write about what is suggested by this passage here. And I'm not going to translate into modern English, but I'm just going to talk about what is being implied. So I'm going to write, this moment shows there has been a great amount of fighting recently between the two houses. Now I'm going to elaborate a little bit. According to the prince, capitalize the name, these fights were bred of an airy word. I'm just kind of citing the part from the text there. Thus, they began over petty insults or comments. All right? So ignore the bell there. So I just wanted to kind of give you an example of how to write what is being suggested. Just kind of recap or talk about this quote and what is being suggested by that quote. Right? Now, the real important part now is why does it matter? All right? So this is where you kind of delve into how does this prove your overall argument that you're trying to make. So I'm going to write the recent violence between the two houses showcases, typing fast here, showcases how this feud has become more violent in recent times. Moreover, it leads the prince to declare a new law that if a person fights, they will die. And we've talked about that, but that's still not enough. I really want to tie this into my overall argument, so I'm going to talk about how a law that will drive some of the future tragic events in the play. So I kind of tie it all right back in. All right, so I know that's a little bit of writing there for you, so what I'd like you to do in just a second is I'd like you to pause the video and I'd like you to complete these two boxes for your first example about what is being suggested by your evidence and why does it matter. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, if you're back, then I'm assuming you have your first topic sentence and your first example all mapped out, and you're ready to go to your second example. Now, if you're still a little bit lost, you can call us over, and we can give you a little bit of help. So for example number 2, I would give another example of how the feud led to some tragedy in this play. And for example number 3, I would give another example about how the feud affected this play or led to some of the tragic events of this play. So again, your goal is to shoot for 3, but if you can only come up with 2, the third is just there if needed. But make sure if you only have 2, that it's strong. If you can only come up with 1, that's not good. You don't have a good point if you can only come up with 1 example to support your point. That's not strong enough of an example. So what you want to do then is you want to outline the rest of your first body paragraph. So once you're ready to do that, I would pause the video and then complete these boxes for your other examples for your body paragraph. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, if you're back, then I'm assuming your whole first body paragraph 1, the entire body paragraph 1 is all completed and you're ready to move on to body paragraph 2. Now body paragraph 2 is simply just going to repeat the same process you did for body paragraph 1, only you're going to grab your second example from your thesis statement. And then of course, body paragraph 3 will be the same process, only you'll grab the third example from your thesis statement, right? I'm not going to do all that for you. We just don't have the time to do that. Plus, this is going to take maybe a couple days. This is the bulk of your essay. This is where you're proving what your argument's all about. Right? Once you've done that and you've completed all 3 body paragraphs, then you're ready to move on to the conclusion paragraph and to put your paper together in a final draft, which will all be shown to you in a second or in a third video on how to outline your conclusion and how to put it together. So take some time and take a day or two and try to complete all the body paragraphs for your essay. Again, we're here to help you if you need help. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to get assistance from a student who might know what they're doing. And good luck to you on outlining the rest of your body paragraphs. And congratulations, once you finish that, your essay is so close to being complete.